All right. We are live today. We have a deal, a sub 2 deal in Dallas, Texas, 3654 South Marsalis Ave in Dallas, Texas, 75216, 3 bed, 2 bath, 1,500 square feet. It's a subject to deal, which means that you'll be taking over the existing loan subject to the existing financing. So 3.5%, that's a great interest rate. The sub 2 mortgage balance is $192,000.51. Escrow shortfall is 7408, so you probably have to make that up as part of your entry fee. So let's see. Your entry fee in total is $35,162, $35,162 plus your closing costs, which we usually estimate 2.5%, plus the TC fee, usually like grandish, but you can probably incorporate everything. Now, let's see, what is the PITI? So the current monthly PITI is $1,822, but if you pay off and catch up the escrow shortfall, your new PITI should be $1,596.22. So this is the number that I'm going to use to back into the amount. Now, you see how it says long-term rentals is $1,700 to $1,900. Well, let's go ahead and see what's going on here. All right, let's see if I can see any photos of this property. Any photos? There we go. We'll just get a general condition of the property. Bathroom looks pretty good. What does this one look like? This home is, it's all right. Probably just replace the carpeting. Bathroom tile is all good. Bathroom looks pretty good. Just in case for those of you that are watching, you guys go to youtube.com/@Kent_HE and you can see the full screen version of this live. So I didn't see that many more photos here. Let's see if I can see on Redfin where I pulled it up. This is in Dallas County. No photos here. Sometimes realtor.com has more photos. Let's see. It's very blurry on here. Maybe my hotel internet is just a little bit slow, but kitchen looks great. Okay, so there's only a couple of rooms with carpet, so I'm going to assume less than a third of it needs new flooring. Okay. All right. Then we also have an explanation in a mortgage statement. So it actually tells you that it's a 3.5% interest with the negative balance. So this is probably as good of a verification of the sub 2 loan details that you're taking over. Let's see if I can get the crime score really quick. Go to tophap.com, go to tophap.com, plug in the address. Oh, this is a pretty high crime. 140. That's a little higher than I personally would like. I generally try not to do anything above 130 or 120, to be honest with you. So let's keep on going. Let's go ahead and get the fair market rent. So if you Google HUD FMR, HUD space FMR, you can click on access to small area FMRs, and then you'll see FY 2024 small area FMRs. Plug in your state, plug in your county, and the zip code for this property is 75216, 75216. And you see that the rent ceiling for a 3-bedroom in this area is $1,540. 3 beds, 75216. Right, did I get that right? Yep. All right, next thing we want to do is get the market rent. So the market rent here is, you're able to get this by going to affordablehousing.com, go to the market rent estimator, plug in the address, plug in bedroom count, and right here it says 1771. Plug that number in, 1771. And this is the number you want to compare to the rent ceiling that we just talked about. Because 1540 is lower than 1771, I'm going to assume that my max rent here is 1540. Okay. Now, I like to always cover when and at what point would you raw a deal. Right then and here, I can see that my rent ceiling is 1540. When I compare that to the PITI, even if it's a better PITI after I catch up on the escrow shortage at 1596, I already know it's going to be negative cash flow. On a normal deal, I would have stopped analyzing the deal right here, right now. because all I care about is using it for a Section 8 or a long-term rental, right? That's my strategy. That's my passion. And that's why I pursue the strategy. Can you do a short-term rental? Absolutely. Can you do a mid-term rental and furnish it for travel nurses, etc.? Absolutely. Can you do a pass split where you rent out by room? Absolutely. I got a video on YouTube that talks about how to analyze a pass split. You can absolutely go through all of that stuff. But for me, I want to keep it simple. And sometimes when you're starting out and just analyzing deals, this is the best way to go about it until you get comfortable with all the other different strategies. And most importantly, the related expenses for each one of these strategies. All right. So that's where I would have stopped, but let's walk it out and just kind of prove it out to everybody, right? So we got 1771. I'm going to write down the rest of these rentals. 1755, 1850, and what else? 2, 3, 4, 5. That was within 0.89 mile radius. 0.89. And the market rent is always important, right, to get, because we always did a rent reasonable test. We always talk about it, where it says you cannot charge more rent to an comparable property of an unassisted unit. You can't charge more just because they're a voucher holder. So, but in this case, you're always taking the lower of the two. So that's why in this scenario, when you see that the FMR is 1540, you compare that to 1771. 1540 is the one that you have to use for this property specifically. Okay. All right. Let's gonna keep on going. This should be sharing on the right screen here. Okay. For some reason, it just lagged on Instagram. Let me just double check. Let me just reshare this just in case that was causing any issues. Okay. So we're gonna keep on going, and I'm gonna plug in the numbers for you. So on this property, the purchase price is what? 192,051. 192,051. I'll plug that in the loan right here. The interest rate is going to be 3.5%, 3.5. Don't really care about when it originated. Why? Because I'm just going to back into that number, right? So I'm going to go into this number right here. I'm going to take the PIT that I talked about, which is 1596.22, 1596.22. There's 1596.22. Subtract sub 2 principal, subtract the sub 2 interest. And that's how you're able to get the remaining taxes and insurance number for this property. The rent number is going to be the lower of the two. So I'm going to take the 1540 because that's what we got from the HUD FMR. I'm adding an extra $35 for insurance because I'm assuming an insurance policy for an investment property is going to be more than what is currently being insured for. All right. So then we do not have an HOA. We got 10% for maintenance. We got 8% for property management. And then I'm going to put this up to 8% for vacancy because I'm assuming this is not as nice of an area. So due to the crime score that we saw. So I'm going to assume just a slightly higher vacancy number here. All right. Now I'm going to plug in a few more numbers here. Now, earlier we talked about set aside $500 for the roof, $500 for some landscaping. I'm going to assume I need to repaint the place. So it's 1,500 square feet. And we said we're only going to replace the flooring in about the bedrooms. So I'm going to do 1,500 divided by 3. Just I'm assuming I only need to replace the flooring in a third of the house. So that's $8 a square foot. I'm only replacing one toilet with a high pressure flush toilet. And I'm assuming there's no termite issues, no water heat issues. So that's about 13 grand in rehab. Not bad at all, to be honest with you. All right. So now we want to get the total entry fee. The total entry fee here is 35,162. 35,162. Delete that number because I already got the total. I got 2.5% closing costs. I got $13,140 of renovation reserve, and boom, this results in a whopping negative $491.62. So if we think back to it, right, what did we just do? We got the deal details here. We went through and we looked at the crime score. We then looked up the general condition of the home by looking at all the property photos and saw what we need to renovate on the property to make it rent ready, quote unquote. Bathrooms looked great, payment standards. Once you saw now, is negative cash flowing always does not really belong to you? You might take a deals and determine your criteria. Some folks will say it's certainly not a deal for me because I do not believe in reaching. Thank you very much for staying consistent, most importantly. Your anniversary with my wife, and I'm not going to go live. Absolutely. And no one would have followed me at that. But I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful I have a supportive wife who allowed me to continue working and to keep the daily habits that really truly compounds into something that's going to be way, way greater. And I know that if all of you just simply copy my homework, analyze the same tool I analyzed today, using the same spreadsheet, analyzing the same property, and put in your own YouTube channel, that's going to give you the track record, the confidence so that you can decide and know that you know what you're doing. Because if you do this for 18 minutes a day for 365 days a year, you will be better at this than 95% of the world. And that's how you're going to get confidence to pull the trigger when the time comes. And sometimes we don't know how to start or where to start, but this is one way you can get started by simply doing what I'm doing every single day and staying consistent with it. So thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you all spend some quality time with your loved ones and family today. I know I'm going to go celebrate us. So have an amazing day, everybody. And I'll be back here again tomorrow. Have a good one, everybody.